All right, so you've got to hear this story. It's about a 100-kilometer bike ride, a politician who goes completely silent, and a pudding. Yeah, I know, it sounds a little weird, but trust me, it all comes together in this really wild story about how a personal getaway can also be a political statement. And right away, here's the twist. The person who went on this trip calls it a victory party. For a politician's loss. How does that even work? How can losing be a victory? That's the big mystery here. And to figure it out, we've got to follow the journey. So that really is the question, isn't it? Is this just a nice summer trip to the mountains, or is there something bigger going on? We're about to unpack how this simple journey into nature actually turned into a really powerful and super personal form of protest. Okay, so to get why this trip even happened, you got to look at the politics behind it. The author didn't just throw a dart at a map. This whole adventure was kicked off by a very specific political moment, or more like a lack of one. So here's the deal. A politician, this Mr. Ishimaru, he loses an election. And then, crickets. Nothing. For 3 whole weeks. Just total radio silence. No concession speech, no tweet, nothing. And for our author, that silence was just maddening. So what do you do when you're met with silence? Well, in this case, you take action. The author decided to pour all of that frustration into this incredibly tough 4-day, 100-kilometer bike ride. It wasn't a protest with signs and chants. It was a protest of pure sweat and determination. And this is where the story takes a turn, because the trip wasn't just about making a point. It was also a much-needed escape. The destination, Tenkawa Village, was chosen for a very practical reason. To find some relief. And this just shows you exactly why. I mean, if you've ever been in Japan in the summer, you know the heat on the plains is it's a monster. It's sweltering, even first thing in the morning. But up in Tenkawa Village, it's a whole different world. It's cool, it's pleasant, it's a place where you can actually breathe. So what's the secret sauce? It's all about the altitude. Tenkawa is way up there, about 800 meters high. That elevation is the key. Our author was literally pedaling away from the heat and up into nature's air conditioning. And look, this was no walk in the park. We're talking 100 kilometers over 4 days. But here's the amazing part. The author says they had 0 muscle aches. How? Well, they were prepared. They'd been training for this, riding up a 750-meter mountain every single month. So this was a test, and they absolutely crushed it. All right, so we know why they went and we know how they got there, but what was it actually like? Let's dive into the experience of being in Tenkawa Village, because it's a total sensory overload in the best way possible. I just love this line. It's so real. Not just cold, it's heart-stoppingly cold. That's the kind of feeling that just jolts you, you know? It snaps you right into the present moment and makes you feel completely alive. The river was definitely the main event. The water was so pure, either totally clear or this beautiful emerald green, and packed with huge fish swimming around. There were these mysterious waterfalls, and get this, swimming at the base of one felt like being wrapped in bubbles. The author calls the whole thing deeply healing, and you can totally understand why. And the amazing nature didn't stop with the river. They also checked out a local limestone cave, and the description for the entrance is just perfect. It was like opening a refrigerator door on a scorching hot day, that sudden blast of cold, refreshing air. It's another one of those details that just puts you right there with them. You know, a trip like this isn't complete without talking about the food. And the food in Tenkawa sounds like it was the perfect match for the surroundings. Just simple, delicious, and incredibly comforting. It seems like simplicity was the whole point. The meals at their inn were just delicious. They felt like coming home. They had this salt grilled ayu fish, which was apparently too delicious, stuffed with eggs. And then there was the Tenkawa pudding. Smooth, not too sweet. The author sums it up perfectly. Simple is best. So, after 4 days of cold rivers, amazing food, and pushing their body to the limit, the trip was over.
But heading back to the real world meant coming face to face with the very thing that started this whole journey, that nagging, unresolved silence. So let's just lay it all out. 3 weeks ago, the politician lost. For all that time since, absolute silence. And now, just as the author is writing about this trip, a statement is finally coming. Tomorrow. The wait is just about over. I mean, think about the timing here. Our author channels weeks of frustration into a 100-kilometer trek, finds some kind of peace up in the mountains, and gets back just in time for the silence to finally end. It's like their personal journey and this public drama are about to collide. And that's where we have to leave it. The ride is done, the pudding's been eaten, but the story is far from over. After all this buildup, after weeks of waiting, what is this politician finally going to say? Will it be worth it? We're left wondering, right along with the author. What a cliffhanger.